you hear people talking about earthing or grounding, especially in wellness spaces, right? And maybe you've thought, is that actually a thing? Or maybe you've just, felt that urge to kick your shoes off, feel the grass.
Yeah, that simple pull.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So today, that's what we're diving into. It's this really interesting spot where like ancient ideas meet modern science.
It really is.
What if I told you that just walking barefoot could be seen as, I don't know, a high-tech health thing and an old spiritual practice and also a proven psychological trick for anxiety?
All at once.
Right. That's grounding for you. It seems simple, but wow, there are layers. And honestly, it gets pretty confusing. So our job today is to try and untangle it all.
It's a fascinating puzzle, isn't it? And that's exactly our goal here for you today. We want to really unpack this, give you a clear, balanced view.
Okay.
We'll look at the science, what there is of it, the mind-body techniques, the spiritual angle. We'll weigh up the claims. Hopefully you'll walk away feeling well-informed, maybe have a few aha moments about what it could mean for you.
And to do that, we've looked at a whole range of stuff. We got scientific papers, detailed analyses.
The research side.
But also insights from, the wellness community, people actually doing this, and some really cool historical perspectives too.
Yeah, where these ideas come from.
Okay, so first things first. We need to lay the groundwork. Pardon the pun.
Nice one.
Because honestly, the biggest confusion, it's that one word, grounding, being used for like 3 really different things.
That's the absolute key right at the start, getting that clear.
Right.
Because if you don't separate them, you end up, applying evidence from one to the other, and it just doesn't fit.
Makes sense.
So the first type, let's call it bioelectrical grounding. You probably hear it called earthing more often.
I think, I've heard that.
This is the one that's literally about physical contact, touching the Earth's surface directly or indirectly. So walking barefoot, obviously, or using special conductive mats, sheets, that kind of thing.
Okay.
The main theory, the one Clint Ober really pushed back in the 90s, is that you're connecting to the Earth's natural electrical charge, and that impacts your body's physiology. It's rooted in physics and biology.
Got it. Bioelectrical.
Yeah.
What's number 2?
Number 2 is psychological grounding. This is quite different. These are actual therapeutic techniques, often evidence-based, used for moments of intense emotional distress.
Like panic attacks.
Or
for feeling spaced out.
Exactly. Anxiety, panic, dissociation. They work by pulling your awareness really firmly into the present moment, usually using your 5 senses. It's a mental health tool.
Okay, that's clear. And the third one?
The third is spiritual or energetic grounding. This views grounding as balancing your personal energy field, your aura, your chi, whatever term you use, with the Earth's stable energy.
So more metaphysical.
Yeah, you get concepts like balancing the root chakra, clearing out negative or unwanted energies, maybe visualizing an energetic grounding cord connecting you to the Earth. It's about energetic stability.
Wow. Okay, so one simple act, like you said, walking barefoot, could be someone doing bioelectrical earthing for inflammation, someone else doing psychological grounding to calm anxiety, and someone else doing spiritual grounding to feel centered.
Precisely. All from the same patch of grass, which is why understanding the theory behind each one is so vital.
And it's not like this idea of connecting to the Earth just popped up recently, right? You mentioned history.
Oh, not at all. This goes way back, millennia, really.
No.
Think about indigenous cultures worldwide. So many have traditions recognizing the Earth's healing power.
Right.
In traditional Chinese medicine, you have the concept of qi, that vital life force, and harmonizing your qi with the Earth is fundamental. Then in 19th century Europe, there was this whole nature cure movement. Guys like Louis Kuhn, Adolf, they were big on walking barefoot for health.
Interesting.
And even scientifically, sort of, back in the 1920s, an American doctor, George Starwhite, was messing around with grounding people while they slept using copper wires hooked up to plumbing pipes.
No way.
Yeah. So this idea, this feeling, it's been around bubbling under the surface for a very, very long time.
That really puts it in perspective.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the 3 types, we've got the history, but the big question is why? Why do people say this works? Let's start with that bioelectrical model, the earthing hypothesis. What's the thinking there?
Okay, so the basic idea is this. The Earth's surface conducts electricity, and it holds a slight negative charge.
Negative charge, right.
It's constantly being replenished by the atmosphere, essentially. Think about lightning. Thousands of strikes happening every minute, all over the globe. This maintains the Earth as this huge, practically infinite source of free electrons, negatively charged particles.
Okay, so the Earth is buzzing with negative electrons. But how does that connect to us? Proponents say modern life messed that up.
Yeah, that's the core of the disconnect theory. Our shoes, rubber soles, plastic soles, they're insulators.
Right, they don't conduct electricity.
Exactly. And our houses, raised floors, insulation, we're basically cut off from that direct electrical connection most of the time.
And the theory says this is bad. Causes like an electron deficiency.
That's the term they use, yes. The idea is we build up positive static charge in our bodies and we lack enough of those negative electrons from the Earth to balance things out.
Okay, so what's the proposed fix? How does walking barefoot supposedly help?
Well, it's pretty straightforward, according to the theory. When your bare skin touches the Earth...
Grass, sand, dirt.
Right. Those negative electrons from the Earth can flow into your body. And the hypothesis is that these electrons act like natural antioxidants.
Antioxidants. Like vitamin C.
Sort of, but electrically. They propose these electrons neutralize positively charged reactive oxygen species, free radicals.
Ah, free radicals. Those things linked to inflammation and aging.
Precisely. Free radicals are seen as key drivers of chronic inflammation. So the thinking is, grounding provides the electrons to neutralize them, reducing inflammation and restoring a healthier bioelectrical state in the body.
Okay, that's the bioelectrical argument. What about the energetic or spiritual model? How do they explain the benefits? Is it about electrons too?
Not usually, no. It's less about electrons and more about, energy, consciousness, connection. It's framed as consciously reconnecting with Mother Earth.
Like plugging into a natural power source.
Kind of, yeah. Plugging into the planet's nurturing, stable, healing energy. It's about alignment.
Does this connect to things like chakras? You mentioned the root chakra.
Absolutely. In yoga and many New Age systems, grounding is vital for balancing the Muladhara, the root chakra at the base of the spine.
And that's linked to feeling safe, stable.
Exactly. Security, stability, belonging. An imbalance there is often associated with anxiety, fear, feeling disconnected. So spiritual grounding is seen as a way to stabilize that foundation. Some even call it like an energetic recycling plant.
Recycling, how so?
The idea is you release heavy, stagnant, or unwanted energy down into the earth, which can absorb and transform it, and then you draw up fresh, vital, supportive energy from the earth.
Okay. And I've heard people talk about it like spiritual hygiene.
Yeah, that comes up too. Like after intense meditation or maybe energy healing work, you might feel a bit floaty or spaced out.
Mm-hmm. I know that feeling.
Grounding helps anchor those higher energies, brings you back into your body, prevents you from feeling disconnected. There's that visualization technique too, imagining an energetic grounding cord from your tailbone deep into the earth's core.
Like an anchor rope.
Pretty much. It acts like a channel to release excess energy and draw up stability. And for some people, this grounded state is seen as essential before trying to manifest things or do other kinds of spiritual work. You need a stable base.
It's fascinating how, whether you talk electrons or energy, there's this common theme emerging.
Isn't there? It really points to this deep, perhaps fundamental human need for stability, for connection, for feeling anchored somehow. These different frameworks seem to be tapping into that same core need.
Which brings us to the big list of reported benefits.
Yeah.
Because people claim grounding helps with a lot of things. Physiologically, psychologically.
Oh, the list is extensive.
And it seems like inflammation keeps coming up as the linchpin, maybe. Like, if grounding reduces inflammation, maybe that explains many of the other benefits. Or is that too simple?
That's the big question, isn't it? Inflammation is the most cited physiological benefit. Proponents claim it reduces all those classic signs: redness, heat, swelling, pain, loss of function.
Is there any visual evidence for that?
Some studies have used infrared imaging, thermography, and reported visible reductions in heat patterns, suggesting less inflammation. The proposed mechanism involves changes in immune cells like neutrophils and lymphocytes and inflammatory chemicals in the blood.
Okay, inflammation is huge. What about sleep and stress? So many people struggle there.
Definitely key areas. Better sleep is a very common report, falling asleep easier, sleeping deeper, longer. And this is often linked to the idea that grounding helps normalize cortisol rhythms.
Cortisol, the stress hormone.
Right. Especially lowering those high levels some people get at night, which really disrupts sleep.
Wow, that alone would be huge. And cardiovascular health. What are the claims?
Several claims there. Things like decreased blood viscosity, making blood less thick or sticky.
Which would improve flow.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
Also reduced clumping of red blood cells. Again, better circulation, better oxygen delivery. Some studies show increased heart rate variability, HRV.
Which is generally a good sign, right? More adaptable nervous system.
Generally, yes. Higher HRV is often linked to better stress resilience. And there's even some early preliminary evidence suggesting it might help reduce blood pressure in people with hypertension.
Okay, what about just plain old pain or like muscle soreness after hitting the gym?
Yep. Claims cover that too. Reduced pain, both acute and chronic. There was that specific study on DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness.
DOMS.
Yeah.
The worst.
Tell me about it. But grounded athletes in that study reported less pain and had lower levels of muscle damage markers compared to the control group. And even more seriously, there's emerging research suggesting grounding might speed up wound healing.
Wound healing, like significant.
Some studies looked at really challenging cases like chronic diabetic foot ulcers and reported faster healing. That's a pretty major claim, obviously needs more research.
Absolutely. Okay, that's a lot on the physical side. What about psychologically? Mood, stress, anxiety.
Big claims there too. People often report feeling calmer, more relaxed, just generally having a better mood. The explanation usually ties back to shifting the nervous system out of fight or flight, the sympathetic state, and into rest and digest, the parasympathetic state.
Makes sense. And anxiety specifically. Any objective signs?
Well, some studies claim to show objective changes, shifts in brainwave patterns on EEG scans towards calmer states. Decreased skin conductance is another marker, sweaty palms, basically, which indicates a less activated nervous system. And of course, the spiritual model talks about discharging chaotic energy, finding inner peace. So yeah, it's a broad spectrum. Looking at that list, what jumps out at you? Are those the kinds of benefits that resonate with what you might be looking for?
It's definitely a compelling list. But, and this is a big but, isn't it? We have to talk about the science, the actual evidence.
Exactly. While those reported benefits sound amazing, we absolutely have to put on our critical thinking hats now and look hard at the research itself because, frankly, there are some significant limitations.
Yeah, this is where it gets tricky. Those studies you mentioned.
Sure.
Let's unpack them a bit. That 2004 Gailey and Teplitz one on sleep and cortisol.
Right. Key study often cited, but
Yeah.
N equals 12. Only 12 participants.
Tiny.
Very small sample.
Yeah.
And while they reported normalized cortisol and people said they slept better, felt less pain, less stress, it's heavily reliant on subjective reports. With only 12 people, the potential for placebo effect is huge.
Okay. What about the blood viscosity study from 2013? Chevalier.
So-called.
Similar story, even smaller. N equals 10, healthy subjects, short-term test. It did show reduced red blood cell clumping.
Which sounds good.
But again, tiny sample, short duration, and it was conducted by leading proponents of earthing. That raises flags about potential bias, wanting to find a positive result.
Right. Confirmation bias. And the muscle damage study. Brown, Chevalier, Hill, 2015 and 16.
Same issues, really. Small pilot study reported less pain, reduced damage markers after DOMS. Promising, maybe, but still small, still potential for bias given the author's advocates. The facial blood flow study by Chevalier in 2015, N equals 40, used thermal imaging, also a pilot, also by a key researcher.
And even that newer Alzheimer's study from 2022, Lin et al.
N equals 15. Showed improved sleep quality in that specific group. But again, very small, very specific population. You can't generalize easily.
So looking across the board, these methodological issues just keep popping up, don't they?
They really do. It's a pattern. The major points of critique are almost always tiny sample sizes, first off. Most are pilot studies, less than 20 people sometimes.
Yeah.
They just don't have the statistical power to give confident results.
Okay. What else?
Questions about blinding. How do you really make sure someone doesn't know if they're grounded or not? It's tricky. If the sham grounding feels different, the blinding fails. And the conflict of interest issue is significant. So many of the foundational studies come from researchers who sell grounding products or are heavily invested in the concept. That doesn't automatically invalidate the research, but it demands extra scrutiny.
And publication bias. Publishing in perhaps less rigorous journals.
That's also a concern raised. Some of this work appears in alternative health journals or open access journals that might not have the same level of stringent peer review as top-tier medical journals.
Okay, let's talk physics for a second. The mechanism itself. Skeptics question if that tiny electrical current could really do all this stuff right.
That's a major sticking point. We're talking nanoamps, an incredibly small amount of current flowing from the earth to the body.
Like way smaller than medical devices use.
Orders of magnitude smaller. Compare it to a tetanus unit for pain relief or a pacemaker. Those use much, much larger currents. So the skepticism is, how can this minuscule flow create such profound body-wide physiological changes? The math seems off to many physicists.
And the idea about electrons zapping free radicals.
That also gets questioned. The claim that electrons travel selectively to neutralize free radicals is seen as, well, biochemically vague. And not all free radicals are even positively charged. So it doesn't quite line up with standard chemistry for some critics.
Which leads some critics to call it pseudoscience.
Yes, that term gets used. The argument is that the whole electron deficiency idea misapplies physics and ignores basic biology. Our bodies manage electrical charge all the time. Static electricity is a perfect example. You touch a doorknob, you get a zap, your charge equalizes. You don't need to be constantly plugged into the earth for that basic process to happen.
So if the mechanism is questionable and the studies have flaws, it really forces us back to that question. When people do feel better, what's actually causing it?
Right. And this is where the skeptical arguments really gain traction. First, the placebo effect.
The big one.
Huge. If you genuinely believe that lying on a special mat or walking barefoot will ease your pain or help you sleep, your brain can actually create real physiological changes that make you feel better. It's incredibly powerful and very hard to separate from a specific electron effect in these studies.
Okay, placebo is definitely part of it. But maybe the most persuasive argument involves confounding variables, like what else are people doing when they're grounding?
This might be the most critical point. Think about how people usually ground naturally. They go outside.
Right.
Nature. And we know spending time in nature reduces stress, improves mood, helps concentration. That's well-established science.
Okay.
They might be getting sunlight, which means vitamin D, which affects mood.
Sure.
If they're walking barefoot or lying on the grass, they're probably being more mindful, more aware of their senses in the present moment. That's a known stress reduction technique.
So mindfulness practice, basically.
Could be. And they're often engaging in gentle exercise, like walking. Also proven health benefits. So the question becomes, are the benefits from the electrons? Or from the nature exposure, the sunlight, the mindfulness, the exercise, or, most likely, some combination of all of the above?
Yeah, that quote you mentioned earlier really hits home. Walking in nature, of course, that's going to be beneficial.
I don't know whether touching the earth with your bare feet is going to make the difference. It perfectly captures that skeptical but pragmatic view. It forces us to ask, are we attributing the benefit to the right thing?
And then there's the whole commercial side. The mats, the sheets, the patches. Plugging yourself into the wall to connect with nature. It feels kind of ironic.
It does, doesn't it? And it's drawn a lot of criticism. People spending significant money on products based on science that's still preliminary and debated.
Plus the safety aspect you mentioned.
Yeah, that's a real concern with the plug-in devices. If your home's wiring isn't properly grounded, you could theoretically expose yourself to electrical fields or even risk shock, which is definitely not a risk when you just take your shoes off outside.
So it really raises that crucial question. When we see benefits, how do we carefully figure out the cause instead of just assuming it's the most exotic explanation?
Exactly. Critical thinking is key here.
Okay, so after all that debate, what does this mean for you listening right now if you're curious? If you want to try grounding, the good news is some methods are super accessible and basically risk-free.
Absolutely. Let's talk practicalities. Natural grounding, the stuff that doesn't cost anything, go for it. The main way is direct skin contact.
Just walk barefoot.
Yep. Grass, sand, dirt, even mud. Just watch out for sharp things or pesticides, obviously. Sitting or lying down on the grass or beach gives you more contact area.
Gardening counts too.
Barehanded gardening, definitely. Any direct skin on earth. Proponents often suggest aiming for maybe 30 minutes or so if you can.
And water. Yeah. Swimming.
Great option. Swimming or even just wading in natural bodies of water, oceans, lakes, rivers. Water is an excellent conductor, so it's considered a powerful way to ground. And again, comes with all the other benefits of being near water and moving your body.
Okay, that's the natural stuff. Free, generally safe, lots of side benefits. What about the tech? The mats and sheets?
So yeah, for people who can't easily get outside, there's indoor equipment. Grounding mats for under your desk or feet, special sheets or pillowcases with conductive fibers like silver woven in, sometimes patches or bands you wear on your skin.
And these all plug into the wall.
They connect via a wire to the ground port, that third round hole in a standard electrical outlet. The idea is to connect you to the building's grounding system, which connects to the earth.
But you mentioned safety concerns.
Yes, and this is crucial. You must plug these into a properly grounded outlet. It's really recommended to use an outlet checker first. They're inexpensive to make sure the wiring is correct.
Because if it's not,
if the outlet isn't properly grounded, the device won't work as intended, and in some rare cases of faulty wiring, it could potentially connect you to live voltage. So safety check first is non-negotiable with these products.
Got it. Okay, let's switch gears completely to psychological grounding. These are tools anyone can use, right? No equipment needed.
None at all. These are mental and sensory techniques often taught in therapy, great for managing anxiety, panic, or just feeling overwhelmed in the moment.
That 5-4-3-2-1 method seems popular. How does that work again?
It's super simple and effective because it forces your brain to focus on the present through your senses. You pause, take a deep breath, and then deliberately notice 5 things you can see. Really look. Objects, colors, details.
Okay.
Then 4 things you can feel: the texture of your clothes, the chair supporting you, the air on your skin, your feet on the floor.
Feel, right.
Then 3 things you can hear. Listen for sounds near and far: traffic, birds, the hum of a computer.
Got it.
Then 2 things you can smell. Maybe coffee, maybe soup. If nothing's obvious, just imagine 2 smells you like. Smell.
Okay.
And finally, 1 thing you can taste. Maybe the lingering taste of toothpaste, or take a sip of water, or pop a mint in your mouth.
See, feel, hear, smell, taste. 5-4-3-2-1.
Exactly. It pulls you right out of your head and into your physical reality. Other quick sensory things work too: holding ice, smelling strong essential oil, slowly savoring a piece of dark chocolate.
And you mentioned mental techniques too, not just sensory.
Yeah, if sensory isn't working or isn't your thing, you can engage your thinking brain in simple neutral tasks, like mentally list all the dog breeds you can think of, or types of cars, or state capitals.
Distraction, almost.
Kind of, but it's focused mental activity. Reciting song lyrics or a poem in your head works too. Simple math problems. Anything to shift your focus. And then there are soothing techniques: repeating kind phrases to yourself, visualizing people you love, picturing a calm, safe place in detail.
So lots of tools in that psychological grounding toolbox.
Definitely. Very practical, evidence-supported for calming the nervous system quickly.
Now, putting grounding in a bigger context.
Yeah.
How does it relate to other mind-body stuff, like mindfulness?
Great question. Psychological grounding is really a specific application of mindfulness. Both use the body and senses to anchor you in the present moment, right? To interrupt unhelpful thought patterns. But mindfulness is often seen as a broader, ongoing practice of non-judgmental awareness, whereas psychological grounding is more of an in case of emergency, break glass tool for acute distress.
Got it. What about comparing it to practices like Qigong or Tai Chi? There seems to be overlap with the connecting to the earth idea.
For sure. There's a strong conceptual overlap, especially with spiritual grounding. Qigong and Tai Chi place huge emphasis on the mind-body connection and cultivating a sense of being rooted or connected to the ground.
They call it rooting, right?
Exactly. Practitioners are often told to feel like they have roots growing down from their feet into the earth, drawing up stability and energy. It's very similar imagery to that spiritual grounding cord idea. And both Qigong and Tai Chi work with cultivating and balancing Qi, or vital energy.
So similar intention, but different methods.
Very different methods. Spiritual grounding can be quite passive, just being connected. Qigong and Tai Chi are complex systems involving flowing, choreographed movements, coordinated breathing, and focused intention.
Right, they're movement practices.
Yeah. Qigong, energy work, often uses simpler, repetitive movements focused on health and energy flow. Tai Chi, which is also a martial art, links movements into longer, flowing sequences or forms. So you could say grounding is about establishing the connection, while Qigong and Tai Chi are about moving with and cultivating energy from that connection. Much more dynamic.
Okay, that makes sense. So as we wrap up this whole deep dive, man, grounding is complicated, isn't it?
It really is. It's this mix of intriguing but often preliminary science, compelling personal stories and anecdotes, deeply felt spiritual beliefs, and yeah, some pretty strong skepticism too.
And the benefits people experience, probably not just one thing causing them.
Almost certainly not. It's highly unlikely it's just the placebo effect, but equally unlikely based on current solid evidence that it's only about electron transfer. The most plausible explanation right now seems to be a combination, like that the well-proven benefits of the things people do while grounding naturally, being in nature, being mindful, moving gently, plus that powerful placebo effect.
Right.
And maybe, potentially, some subtle bioelectrical effects that we just don't have enough good research on yet. That door isn't completely closed, but the evidence isn't there to hold it wide open either.
So for you listening, wanting some practical takeaways, what's the bottom line?
Okay, 3 main points, I think. First, embrace natural grounding. Go walk barefoot on the grass, sit by the ocean, garden with your hands. It's free, it feels good, it's essentially risk-free, and it definitely gives you those proven benefits of nature and mindfulness. Highly recommend.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Second, use psychological grounding techniques. The 5-4-3-2-1 method, sensory focus, mental exercises. These are evidence-based, clinically recognized tools for managing anxiety and stress in the moment. Keep these in your mental health toolkit. They work.
Good advice. And number 3, the products.
Third, approach the commercial grounding products with caution. Mats, sheets, patches. They can be expensive. The robust, independent scientific proof that they specifically provide benefits beyond just being outside or placebo is just not there yet. And remember the safety check with outlets. So weigh the cost against the unproven benefits compared to free natural methods.
Right. Buyer beware, or at least buyer be informed.
Exactly. And looking forward, the scientific community really needs more research here. Big, well-designed studies, independent researchers, carefully controlling for all those confounding factors, nature, placebo, etc., to really figure out if there is a specific bioelectrical effect, and if so, how it works.
It feels like we've only scratched the surface, in a way.
We definitely have.
So maybe the deepest dive we can take isn't just into the electrons or the chakras,
Yeah.
but maybe just noticing how feeling the actual ground under our feet connects us. How it serves as this really basic fundamental anchor in a world that feels increasingly, well, disconnected. What new connections, maybe simple ones, maybe profound ones, might you want to explore in your own life? Something to think about.